Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
We're breaking down chapter 1155, The Man Who Worshipped a Devil.
And I don't even know where to begin. My brain is completely scrambled. We just saw Rox D. Xebec walk into the throne room of the world and talk to IMU. My circuits are fried. I think I need a full system reboot and a week's supply of cola just to process this.
He didn't just talk to them. He made a promise, a threat. It was a moment that has been lurking in the shadows of history for decades, and we just saw it play out. It's like finding the original text of a forbidden scripture.
This is the kind of chapter that makes you want to go back and reread the entire series from the beginning, just to see what else we missed. If you're on that same journey with us, make sure you're caught up with our breakdowns. Hitting that subscribe button is like setting a permanent log post to our signal. You won't get lost. We promise to navigate these crazy waters with you.
Let's start on Elbaph. It feels like a lifetime ago, given everything that happened later in the chapter, but that's where the story opens.
Right, with Prince Loki talking to Rox, and the art here is just, wow, the way Rox is drawn with this raw, chaotic energy. He's not just standing there, he's taking up the whole panel, even when he's just talking. Loki confirms, yeah, you're on Elbaph, and then drops the fact that he's the son of the king, Harald, and Rox's reaction is just perfect Rox. He's not impressed, he's annoyed. It's like a lion being bothered by a house cat.
He immediately sees an angle. It's the first thing his mind goes to. Not diplomacy, not courtesy, but leverage. He learns Harald is at sea and tells Loki to call him back, to lie and say he's been badly hurt. He's testing the boy and also testing the bond between the prince and the king.
And Loki, full of that giant pride we've seen before with guys like Hajarudin, just refuses. He basically says, my dad wouldn't come back for me anyway, and besides, I think I'm stronger than you, which is maybe the worst miscalculation in the history of bad ideas. It's like challenging a typhoon to a spitting contest.
It is. He just dismisses him with a sigh. We learn about his incredible swordsmanship, that he blows things away like a hammer or a cannonball. It's not the refined cutting of a Mihawk or the demonic aura of Zoro. It's pure, overwhelming force. A manifestation of his haki, perhaps, that doesn't seek to sever, but to annihilate.
He doesn't cut, he obliterates. It's like a coup d'etat, but with a sword. He just launches Loki, the prince of Elbaph, into a cliffside, and then he just laughs, this cold, calculating laugh, saying, well, now you have a real reason to call your dad. That is just stone cold. He creates the reality he wants through pure force. He didn't get the lie he wanted, so he made it the truth.
It's the core of his character, isn't it? He doesn't negotiate with the world. He just reshapes it to his will. The world is clay in his hands. And with Loki injured, the stage is set for Harald's return. But before we see that, we jump back 8 years.
To the Levely. The Levely, the place we've always seen as this symbol of the world government's order and power. We knew he was the man behind the God Valley incident, but this is the first time we've seen what he actually did at the Levely, and it's so much crazier than I ever imagined.
He didn't just attack, he abducted 5 kings, 5 separate monarchs taken from the heart of the world government's power, Mary Geoise itself. Think of the logistics, the sheer audacity. It would be like a single person kidnapping 5 world leaders from a G7 summit. The chaos must have been absolute.
It's pure chaos, and in the middle of it all, Harald is there too, having snuck in for his own reasons, probably trying some back-channel diplomacy for the Giants, and he's getting blamed for everything Rox is doing. You can just picture it. Alarms are blaring, the Gorosei are probably screaming their heads off, and poor Harald is just trying to find an exit, with the entire world chasing him for crimes he didn't commit. He's become an accidental revolutionary.
And of course, who does he run into? The man himself. Rox, also making a break for it, probably humming a jaunty tune. Harald is furious, just screaming that Rox is making him take the fall, and he just attacks, and you can't blame him.
And Rox attacks back, and in that moment, the power that erupts from them is unbelievable. The black lightning crackles between them, splitting the very air.
Supreme King Haki. Both of them. Of course they both have it. The future king of the giants and the man who would be king of the world. The clash is insane.
It's drawn with the same intensity as Roger and Whitebeard's. You can feel the power coming off the page.
Their clash is so immense, it blows away everyone within 5 kilometers. Marines, guards, probably even some lower-ranking celestial dragons are just sent flying. It's a statement of power. These are not normal men. This is what happens when 2 people with the qualities of a king refuse to yield to one another.
But Rox is a strategist, even on the run. He's not just a brute. He's fighting Harald and thinking 3 moves ahead. He tells Harald, hey, aim your next big attack at the town. If they catch you, you're going to be a slave. He gives him an out that also serves his own escape. It's twisted genius.
It's a devil's bargain. Harald is confused, but what choice does he have? Be captured and enslaved by the celestial dragons, or unleash his power and escape? He does it. He unleashes his power on Mary-Geoise itself, creating the ultimate distraction. He, a king, attacks the Holy Land. Rox forced his hand and made him into the criminal they already thought he was.
And they both start running, with Rox guiding him. The pure audacity of this guy. He gets Harald blamed for his crimes, then convinces Harald to help him escape. And then he just jumps. He literally leaps off the side of the red line into the ocean below. No ship, no plan, just pure faith in his own survival.
He tells Harald they should meet again if he survives, and Harald just yells back that he's a criminal and wants nothing to do with him. It's a powerful moment of defiance from Harald, trying to hold on to his principles, even after being so thoroughly manipulated.
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy. I have a feeling Rox isn't the kind of guy who takes no for an answer. That interaction probably just made him want to recruit Harald even more. He loves a challenge.
This event is what puts Rox on the map. He gets his first real bounty, and we learn that among his crimes, he was wanted for fatally wounding a Marine admiral.
He killed an admiral, and we still don't know who. That's a whole other mystery right there. Was it someone we've heard of? Someone who was up for Fleet Admiral against Kong? Was he one of the old guard? This is a massive piece of lore that just got dropped in. The world government must have buried the fact that one of their top fighters was taken out during that chaos.
It's a blank space in the history books, deliberately erased. After that, he really kicks his plan into gear. He attacks a ship carrying the heavenly tribute.
He robs the celestial dragons directly. That's like robbing the entire world at once. And not only that, he destroys one of the gates of justice in the process. We saw how much of a big deal it was for us to get through them at Ennius Lobby. He just broke one. He isn't just a pirate, he's a force of nature fundamentally opposed to the world government's existence. He's not breaking their rules, he's breaking their reality.
And he uses that money, the world's money, to start his pirating career properly. And this connects back to his declaration to IMU. How does he recruit his crew? How does he build his kingdom?
Davy backfights. He's literally living out the legend of Davy Jones. He's not asking people to join him, he's winning them. He's taking their loyalty, their strength as his own. He challenges the strongest, most ambitious pirates he can find and binds them to his will. It's horrifyingly effective.
It's how he assembled that monstrous crew. He found people with wills as strong as his own, future emperors, legends, and he gambled for their allegiance. He didn't break them like Kaido would. He owned them through a contract they willingly entered.
Which brings us back to the present on Elbaph. Harald, as we figured, did come home for Loki. He's pissed, but he's there. He assumes Loki just fell off a cliff or something, completely missing the darker truth that his son tried to fight the devil and lost.
He has no idea Loki essentially tried to commit suicide by pirate. But he's a father, so he came back. And he invites Rox and his crew into his castle, presumably to talk this out, giant to man. A huge mistake. You don't invite a plague into your home.
And we see them, the first gathering of the Rox pirates, before they were even officially a crew. We see them all in this incredible shot, and my jaw hit the floor.
It's just a murderer's row. A young Edward Newgate is there. He doesn't have his iconic crescent moon mustache yet, but he has the Bacento. He looks younger, fiercer, but you can see the man he'll become. You have to wonder what game Rox won to get a man like him on his crew.
Shiki is there looking like some kind of mob boss with his two swords. Miss Buchan is there, and they call her the science robber. So she's not just a freeloader who claims to be Whitebeard's lover, she's a genius thief who steals technology. Does this connect to Mads? To Vegapunk? Was she her rival? The implications for Weevil just got 100 times more complicated.
It also names a few others. A West Blue gangster, Don Marlin, who looks like a classic mafia don, a smuggler named Ganzu, who probably handled their logistics, and a man named Ochok, the pirate guru. That title is fascinating. Was he a strategist, a historian, someone who knew the secrets of the sea?
What a lineup! And this is before Kaido and Big Mom even join. This is the seed of the crew that would rule the seas. This is the nightmare Garp had to face.
And Rox makes his pitch to Harald. He's direct. He wants the Giant King to join him, to help him tear down the Holy Land and become king of the world.
His argument is so perfectly twisted, it's master-level manipulation. He tells Harald that giants shouldn't be trying to be equal to humans. They are superior. They should just take what they want and stop trying to be the world government's well-behaved dog. He's telling a king to be a conqueror again.
He's appealing to the old ways of Elbaph, the bloodthirsty, warrior past that Harald is actively trying to move beyond. He's telling him that his attempts at peace and diplomacy are a betrayal of his own nature. It's the voice of the devil on his shoulder, telling him all his darkest thoughts are the right ones.
It reminds me of what Davy Jones was trying to do on Fishman Island, but Rox is 1,000 times more charismatic and believable. Harald refuses, of course. He says Elbaph is changing, that he's built relationships with the world he won't throw away for one man's mad ambition. But Rox just scoffs at that. He says people's true nature never changes. He tells Harald that his own youthful bloodlust is still in there somewhere, just waiting to be unleashed.
It's a chillingly effective argument, and it shows how well Rox can read people. He knows exactly which buttons to push, which insecurities to exploit. He sees the warrior king beneath the diplomat's robes.
Harald has none of it. He turns to the rest of Rox's crew and warns them, telling them only disaster awaits if they follow this man. He tries to appeal to their sense, and their reaction says everything you need to know about this crew.
Shiki just smirks and says he has no loyalty to Rox. He wouldn't care if he died tomorrow. He's only here for the chaos and the potential reward.
And Miss Buchan agrees, but she adds that Rox has a plan to make them all rich. That's the glue holding them together. Not loyalty, not a shared dream, not camaraderie, just pure, uncut greed and ambition. This isn't a crew like ours or Roger's or even Whitebeard's future family. It's a coalition of predators, and Rox is just the biggest shark.
And this learns the specifics of that plan, the masterstroke. It all revolves around Hachinosu, Pirate Island.
Don Marlin asks Harald if he's heard of it, and we get a little history lesson. It used to be a penal colony for criminals that individual nations couldn't handle, a dumping ground.
A young Whitebeard explains that the island had no resources. They just sent people there to die, a forgotten island for forgotten people. This adds so much to his character. He knows what it's like to be discarded, which is why he built a family for all the outcasts he found. He was living his future ideals even while serving under a man who represented the opposite.
But then, everything changed. They found a massive supply of gold on the island. Suddenly, this death trap becomes a treasure trove. The criminal underworld gets involved, helps them mine it, and Hachinosu becomes a thriving, lawless settlement.
A place the world government absolutely hates but can't easily control, a festering sore on the map. And this is where Rox's genius for manipulation comes into play. It's on another level.
He tells Harald he made a deal with the world government. He's going to go to Hachinosu and claim the island for them in exchange for a hefty payment. It's so absurdly brazen.
But it's a complete lie. He's playing them. He has no intention of giving them the island. He took their own hypocrisy and greed, their desire to control Hachinosu without getting their hands dirty, and turned it into a weapon.
He's going to use the world government's own money to fund his invasion of Hachinosu, and then he's going to take it for himself. He wants to turn it into the ultimate pirate paradise, his base of operations. He's making the WG pay for the construction of their greatest enemy's fortress. It's the most supervillain plan I've ever heard.
It is a stunningly brilliant and cynical plan. He's using the greed of his crew and the hypocrisy of the government against each other, with himself as the only one who wins. He is the fulcrum of the entire underworld.
And that's when he lays it all out. Once he has Hachinosu, his kingdom, he'll destroy the Marines, he'll destroy the Holy Land, and he will fulfill his dream of becoming king of the world. He says it with such conviction you almost believe him.
Harald is horrified. He tells Rox that's impossible, that it would make him the enemy of the entire world. It is the rational response.
But Rox just has this unshakable faith in himself. He says no organization lasts forever, and he believes Harald's strength, the strength of the entire giant race, is the key to helping him achieve his goal.
He sees Harald not as a friend or an equal, but as an incredibly powerful tool he needs to acquire for his plan, a living, breathing, ancient weapon he could add to his collection.
And Harald still refuses. He holds his ground. He chooses his people and his new path over Rox's dark promises. But someone else was listening to this whole conversation.
Harald's son, Loki, the injured prince, overhearing everything from his room, the entire exchange.
And he is captivated. He doesn't see a madman. He doesn't see a villain. He sees salvation. This man who promises to let the strong rule, who scoffs at equality and diplomacy, that's the world Loki wants to live in, the world his father is trying to leave behind.
This is the moment his allegiance shifts. This is the poison that takes root in his heart and in Elbaph. Rox may not have recruited the father, but he corrupted the son. He planted a seed of sedition that could bloom into a civil war a generation later.
And then we learn that for the next 4 years, Rox kept trying to recruit Harald and kept failing. But it didn't matter. He still amassed a force powerful enough to take Hachinosu on his own. And that was the day the Rox pirates were officially born, on an island of gold funded by their greatest enemy.
An entire saga laid out in a single chapter, the formation of the most dangerous crew in history, the ambition of its captain, and the day he looked God in the eye and told them he was coming for their chair.
Unbelievable. We just got so many answers, and it's only created 1,000 more questions. I can't stop thinking about all the possibilities. What do you think the fallout from God Valley is actually going to look like? Is there a poneglyph on Hachinosu? We're going to be talking about this one for weeks.
All right, predictions for Chapter 1156. What do you have?
Okay, first up, we're going to find out the name of the Marine Admiral that Rox killed. My money is on it being someone who was a rival to Kong for Fleet Admiral at the time, a name we might have heard in passing but never had context for. It'll be a classic reveal that makes us all go back to Chapter 234 and see it written on a document in the background.
I could see that. A piece of history they've deliberately kept quiet. My first prediction is that we'll learn more about Davy Jones. Rox didn't just admire him, he was a worshipper. I believe the original Davy Jones was a figure from the Void Century, perhaps someone who opposed Joy Boy not with tyranny, but with a different philosophy of freedom through absolute control, a world bound by contracts and wagers instead of dreams.
Ooh, a dark mirror, a lawful evil to Joy Boy's chaotic good. I like that. My second prediction, the next chapter will not immediately jump to God Valley. I think we'll see a montage of Rox recruiting his final biggest members, Big Mom and Kaido. We'll see what kind of deals he had to make, what kind of Davy backfights he had to win to bring those two monsters under his banner, especially Kaido, who we know has this thing about Joy Boy. Why would he ever follow Rox?
That's a good call. We need to see the full crew assembled before the fall. My second prediction concerns the 5 kings Rox kidnapped. Imu didn't care about them, but Rox wouldn't have let them go. I think he took them to God Valley, and they, or their children, became the ancestors of the Figureland family, the celestial dragons who act as judges of the native hunting competitions. Their royalty was perverted into a tool for the celestial dragons' amusement.
Whoa, that's dark. So he basically turned them into the foundation of that twisted tradition as a final insult. Okay, my final prediction is a simple one. The chapter will end with the arrival of 2 ships at God Valley. one flying the Jolly Roger of the Roger Pirates, the other a marine battleship with a young monkey D-Garp on the deck, ready for a fight. The iconic shot.
The fated encounter. My final prediction is about Imu's attendant, Gunko. We saw them in the Room of Flowers, a silent, masked figure. I believe Gunko is not just a servant, but a member of a lineage that has served the empty throne for 800 years, and they are the one who chronicles the true history from the world government's perspective. They are the keeper of Imu's secrets, a living poneglyph of their reign.
A historian for the bad guys. Man, I can't wait to see if any of these come true. This has been an absolutely colossal chapter. We're going to need to read this one about 10 more times. Make sure you join us next time as we continue to sail these unbelievable seas.
Until then, keep searching for the true history.